Hi, I'm Yuta. Today, I want to share my story. Before we go any further, I'd love to know where in the world you're watching from. Drop your location in the comments below. I love seeing how far this little story can travel. Let's make this space feel a little more connected, no matter how many miles are between us. Growing up in the Tamaru family was different for each of us. Hiromi was born during our parents' first year of marriage. By the time she was 15, Mom was pregnant with us. We were never close with Hiromi. She was starting college just as we were starting kindergarten, and she often reminded us that we had ruined her final years of high school. Looking back, I don't see how. We were always with the nanny while Mom attended one event after another for Hiromi. Their relationship was more like sisters than mother and daughter. Both were beautiful, slim, charming, and carried the same sharp streak of cruelty when they wanted to. I was born 15 minutes before my twin sister, Hiroko. Mom always said she bonded with me first and longer. Since Mom and Dad had wanted a son, they were overjoyed when I arrived. As we grew, I began to resemble Dad more and more, athletic, on the football team, a basketball star. Hiroko, on the other hand, was the brain, robotics club, debate team, always excelling academically. Yet she was constantly overlooked, considered average in every way that mattered to Mom. At the time, it seemed normal. Sumire Tamaru, our mother, was all about appearances. The house was immaculate, her dinner parties legendary, and God forbid any of us embarrassed her in public. Dad traveled constantly for work, leaving Mom to rule the household with her manicured iron fist. When he was home, he usually went along with whatever she wanted, just to avoid conflict. Hiromi eventually got engaged to Tasuku, an investment banker who checked all of Mom's boxes, wealthy, from a good family, and willing to fund Hiromi's expensive tastes. The engagement party had been planned for months, with Mom treating it like a royal wedding. She invited everyone who was anyone in town, hired the best caterers, and spent a fortune on decorations. In the days leading up to the party, I noticed Hiroko wasn't herself. She seemed tired. When I mentioned it at dinner, Mom dismissed it as attention-seeking, claiming this was a pattern of hers, even though I had never noticed one. Soon Hiroko began wincing with stomach pain, mild but persistent. When she asked to see a doctor, Mom brushed it off. "You're probably just nervous about seeing all those people. You've always been the anxious one." By Thursday, Hiroko looked much worse and was barely eating. My girlfriend, Mizuki, pointed out that she seemed dizzy whenever she moved too quickly. The next morning at breakfast I said, "Hiroko, you look terrible. Maybe you should see a doctor." "She's fine," Mom interjected. "We have too much to do for tonight. Hiroko, I need you to pick up the flowers and double-check with the caterers." Hiroko tried to reassure us, "Yeah, I think it's just stress. I'll be fine." But as the day went on, she visibly deteriorated. Later, while helping with party prep, Mizuki saw Hiroko stumble toward the bathroom. When she didn't come out, Mizuki went to check and found her collapsed on the floor, unable to move, lying in her own vomit. "Oh my God, Hiroko!" Mizuki cried, rushing to her side. She called for me, and I came running. "We need to get her to the hospital," I said, trying to lift her. The commotion drew Mom's attention. She appeared in her silk robe, annoyed. "What's all this noise?" "The party is in 6 hours. I need to get dressed." "Mom, Hiroko's really sick," I said urgently. Mom looked at her with skepticism. "She's probably just nervous. Hiroko always gets stomach aches when there's an event." "Sumire, this is serious," Mizuki insisted. "She has a fever, she's in severe pain, and she's vomiting. These are classic appendicitis symptoms. I can't breathe. Mom, please." "I think I'm dying," Hiroko gasped, doubled over on the bathroom floor, sweat pouring down her face. Mom rolled her eyes. "Stop being so dramatic, Hiroko. You're not ruining Hiromi's engagement party with your attention-seeking." She stepped over her to fix her lipstick in the mirror. "Mrs. Tamaru, she's burning up. We need to call an ambulance," Mizuki pleaded, kneeling beside Hiroko. "Absolutely not. The guests will start arriving in 6 hours. She can go to urgent care tomorrow if she's still pretending to be sick." Mom was already in catastrophe prevention mode. To her, Hiroko's absence would look like a scandal. Take some Tylenol and go lie down. If you're still feeling poorly, you can leave early, say 9:30 p.m. Mom, are you insane? I snapped. I rarely stood up to her, but I was furious. She needs medical attention now. Don't you dare speak to me that way, Mom hissed. This family has worked too hard for this party. People might think we have family problems if she's not there, or that she doesn't support the marriage. They'll say we can't manage our own affairs. And canceling? Out of the question. Imagine people calling us unreliable. I won't have it. Hiromi appeared in the doorway, yawning. What's going on, Hiroko? Are you trying to steal my thunder again? Steal your? I'm sick, Hiromi, Hiroko managed to gasp. You're always sick when something important is happening for me. Remember my high school graduation, my college graduation, my job promotion dinner, and now my engagement party. The truth was, Hiroko and I were only 3 when Hiromi graduated high school. Mom had fired the nanny, so she had to drag 2 toddlers to the ceremony. We cried as she crossed the stage, but somehow the blame always fell on Hiroko. Later, she had a migraine during Hiromi's law school graduation, worn down by finals. And during Hiromi's promotion dinner, Hiroko was away at Texas Tech for the Clark Scholars Program. Still, they called her selfish. Mizuki and I exchanged glances. We're taking her to the hospital, I announced. You absolutely will not, Mom, Sumire Tamaru snapped, blocking the doorway. I forbid it. The family must be here tonight, united and happy. Hiroko can tough it out. Dad would want us to take her, I tried. Your father is in New York. He doesn't need to be bothered with this nonsense. Hiroko, take some Tylenol and lie down. That's final. Afraid of Mom, Mizuki and I helped Hiroko to her room. We brought ice packs, water, and Tylenol, but nothing helped. For the next 5 hours, she drifted in and out of consciousness. I begged Mom again, but she was in full party mode. She's being dramatic as usual, she said, while Hiroko cried that her abdomen felt like it was on fire. Looking at my twin, I felt helpless. Then Hiroko vomited across the floor and down the side of her bed. That's it, I'm calling 911, Mizuki declared. Don't you dare, Mom hissed, appearing in her party dress. The ambulance will cause a scene. Guests are arriving. Mrs. Shimizu, with all due respect, Hiroko could die, Mizuki said firmly. She's not going to die from a stomachache. Give her ginger ale and crackers. But Mizuki had already pulled out her phone. Mom lunged to grab it, forcing me to step between them. Mom, stop. This has gone too far. While they argued, Hiroko screamed in agony. Mizuki shouted into the phone for an ambulance. Mom sneered, fine, but that ambulance will not get through the gate. She immediately called the guardhouse, ordering security to turn it away. I tried to wake Hiroko, but she was barely responsive. Mom muttered to the guards, my children are overreacting. 10 minutes later, the ambulance arrived anyway. In front of Hiromi's soon-to-be in-laws, Hiroko was carried out on a stretcher. Mom tried to laugh it off. Don't worry, she's fine. Just a case of jealousy. But Hiroko never woke up. During emergency surgery, I called Dad. He flew home immediately. He arrived just as the doctor came to speak with us. We've done everything we can, but the injuries are too severe. Further intervention would be futile. The doctor explained that Hiroko's appendix had ruptured, leading to peritonitis, a life-threatening infection. If she had come in earlier, they might have saved her. Dad turned to me. How long has she been ill? Mizuki and I tried to explain about the party, about Mom insisting Hiroko was faking. Mizuki added how Mom had tried to snatch her phone and ordered the guards to block the ambulance. The doctor cleared his throat. Is this true? We both said yes. The color drained from Dad's face. The doctor said he was required to report it, medical abuse leading to the death of a minor. He asked us to stay, speak with the social worker, and give statements to the police. We agreed. Dad muttered, I need to talk to Sumire. Later, I learned what happened. When Dad returned home, the party glittered with wealth and charm. Guests congratulated Hiromi and Tasuku. Dad stormed up to Mom. Why did you stop Hiroko from getting medical help? Mom tried to hush him, moving them to a corner. Everything's fine. Hiroko was acting out for attention. You shouldn't have been called home. It's not a big deal. Dad exploded. Not a big deal? Acting out? For fuck's sake, Samire, she's dead. You killed her. You let your daughter die for what? For this. He gestured at the glittering room. The crowd fell silent. Guests whispered about the ambulance. Mom collapsed, sobbing. No, this can't be. She just had an upset stomach. Dad looked at her, then at Hiromi. You two make me sick. I'm going back to the hospital. Yuta and Mizuki are speaking with the police. That shut Mom up fast. The police? What for? She asked, but Dad walked out. The party ended there. Guests slipped away, whispering among themselves. Mrs. Shimizu, Mom's biggest rival in the social scene, was overheard saying, "What kind of mother chooses a party over her child's life?" But the real consequences came later. The hospital social worker questioned why I hadn't brought Hiroko in sooner. When she learned the full story, she was horrified. Then came the police. They asked us to build a timeline, how many times Mom had said Hiroko was faking, how many times we had begged to take her to the hospital. It turned out this wasn't the first time Mom had prioritized appearances over our well-being. Dad had been documenting instances for years, times she forced us to perform while sick, ignored injuries that might have required casts or stitches, punished us for embarrassing her in public by simply being normal kids. I enabled her for too long, he admitted to the police. One nurse shook her head. In 30 years of nursing, I've seen parents make bad choices. But refusing to get help for appendicitis because of a party, that's a new low. The guard office records all calls for safety and quality assurance. They willingly handed over the log, then there was Mom's voice on the 911 call saying the ambulance would not be allowed through the gate. The next day, Tasuku's family called off the engagement. They said they could never allow their son to marry someone who let her sister die to keep up appearances. Then Hiromi tried to salvage sympathy online. She posted about all the times Hiroko had made a scene at her events, insisting she shouldn't be blamed for her little sister's death. It backfired immediately. People called her out. Mom was the only one who defended her, and Hiromi deleted the post the next day. Mom then went on Facebook, crying about how she was the victim, her party ruined, her daughter dead. Only one person commented, attaching a video clip of the ambulance taking Hiroko away and Mom saying, "Don't worry, she's fine, just a case of jealousy." She deleted the post within an hour, but it had already been screen recorded and shared in a local group. The backlash was brutal. As Dad planned Hiroko's funeral, the police built their case. Dad hired security for the service. As expected, Mom and Hiromi arrived in expensive black dresses, looking more like they were headed to a nightclub than a funeral. Mom wailed, "My baby, oh my baby girl," while Hiromi wiped dry eyes, repeating to anyone who would listen, "My baby sister." They weren't allowed in. Instead, Dad took that moment to serve Mom with divorce papers. She screamed, "No, you can't do this to me." As Dad walked away, refusing to give her the attention she craved, she shrieked, "Fine, I'll ruin you. I'll take everything from you." Then she turned on me, "Yuta, come home with me right now." I never looked back. I stared forward as security removed them. Dad and I never stepped foot in that house again. We rented a small apartment. I was used to a mansion, but I didn't care. I wanted nothing to do with Mom or Hiromi. Then one night, Hiromi posted a TikTok. She was clearly drunk, a glass of wine in her hand, 2 bottles visible behind her. She ranted that she was the true victim, claiming Hiroko had been jealous her whole life and that her final stunt of dying was just to break up her engagement. She called Tasuku a loser for leaving the best thing he ever had, insisting Hiroko had destroyed her life from the day she was born. The video was deleted the next day, replaced with another where she admitted she'd been drinking too much, said grief was hard, and claimed she missed her daddy, a name she hadn't used since childhood. She wished we could grieve as a family. It went viral, but not the way she hoped. People called her a narcissist. Everything came to a head a week after the funeral. First, Hiromi was fired from her law firm. She and Mom were asked to step down from every charity they belonged to, shunned by everyone they knew. The police said there was nothing they could charge Hiromi with, but Mom was arrested in front of everyone as she tried to enter the church. The charges: child neglect, endangerment, involuntary manslaughter, criminally negligent homicide. The case became a media storm. Every outlet reported on the mother who let her daughter die for a party. The jury returned a guilty verdict in just 3 hours. The judge said he had never seen such a cold-hearted mother. Mom was sentenced to life in prison, with parole possible in 25 years. Dad finalized the divorce easily with her in jail. He was granted everything. Hiromi tried to get hired at another law firm, but her reputation followed her. No one wanted her. Eventually, she left the state and found work as a paralegal at a small, unknown firm. Dad sold the mansion. It had lost all its charm. He bought the apartment building we had been renting from. Now we each have our own suites, side by side. We attend joint therapy, individual therapy, and a grief support group. It's been hard, but Dad has taken a local job. We've grown closer than we ever were before. Sharing this story is not just about exposing what happened, it's about breaking the silence that so often surrounds family trauma. For years, appearances were valued more than truth, and Hiroko's voice was dismissed until it was too late. By telling what happened, I honor her memory and remind myself that silence can be deadly, but honesty can be healing. Grief doesn't vanish, but it changes shape. Therapy, support groups, and the courage to speak openly have helped me and Dad begin to rebuild. We've learned that vulnerability is not weakness, it's strength. And though the scars remain, they remind us that we survived and that we can choose a different path forward. If you've ever shared your own story, you know how heavy it feels at first, like opening a wound. But over time, it becomes lighter because you realize you're not alone. Others hear it, connect with it, and sometimes find the courage to share their own. That's how healing begins, one voice at a time. So this is not just Hiroko's story or mine. It's a reminder that mental health matters more than appearances, that compassion must come before reputation, and that speaking out can save lives.